Dust, smoke, mist, fumes, vapors and gases are all examples of substances that we can breathe in. Some of these, for example water vapor, do not present a threat to our health. Others can lead to illness and disease, and some can even be life-threatening. The composition of clean air is 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% other gases. The composition of exhaled breath is 78% nitrogen, 17% oxygen, 4% carbon dioxide, and 1% other gases. If the composition of clean air is altered in any way, either by the presence of airborne contaminants and/or by a reduction in the level of oxygen, health effects can result. These effects can be acute and cause an immediate or short-term problem, or they can be of a chronic nature and lead to illness or disease over the medium or long term. If oxygen levels are deficient, generally recognized as being below 18%, there will be effects on the body's metabolism. Oxygen-deficient atmospheres are potentially life-threatening. If an atmosphere contains harmful contaminants, this can affect the lungs' ability to efficiently transfer oxygen and carbon dioxide to and from the bloodstream. Harmful contaminants can also be absorbed into the bloodstream and can put at risk organs throughout the body. In many workplaces, the potential for the inhalation of hazardous substances is a serious issue that must be continually addressed. Many processes and activities have the potential to release airborne contaminants. Each of these processes or activities should be assessed and evaluated to establish if they pose a significant health hazard. Identified health hazards must be controlled to protect the well-being of anyone who may be exposed. Often, control of these hazards can be achieved by the isolation or containment of the activity, or by ensuring appropriate ventilation is provided in the area concerned. For example, the use of a local exhaust system can remove hazardous contaminants before they have a chance to enter the general atmosphere. If traditional control measures are not suitable, or they do not reduce the risk level sufficiently, personal protective equipment must be used whenever there is a significant health hazard present. There are essentially two types of respirators: air purifying respirators and supplied air respirators. Supplied air respirators are also sometimes referred to as air supplying or atmosphere supplying respirators. Air purifying respirators remove contaminants from the air that passes through the filters as the wearer inhales. The wearer is relying on the air in the immediate vicinity, and therefore the oxygen must be at normal levels, that is, at around 21%, whenever an air purifying respirator is used. Supplied air respirators take their air from a source outside the work area, or from a compressed air cylinder worn by the user. The key point being that the air supplied is independent from the air in the work area. If the air is being supplied from a source outside the work area, the user must be in an area where the contaminants are not immediately dangerous to life or health, and there is an adequate level of oxygen present. The reason for this is to prevent an immediate problem should the wearer become isolated from the controlled air supply. Supplied air respirators that are either fully self-contained or have a self-contained backup system are the only respirators that should be worn when contaminants are present that are immediately dangerous to life or health. There is an oxygen-deficient atmosphere, or the conditions in an area are unknown. Supplied air respirators should only be used by people who are highly trained in both the use of the equipment and the dangers that may be present. Air purifying respirators, on the other hand, are widely used in different situations by people with varying levels of knowledge and experience. Air purifying respirators come in a large variety of shapes and sizes, ranging from the basic disposable mask types through to battery-powered models with motors and fans. The common factor with all of these respirators is that they are only to be used in conditions where the atmosphere, although contaminated, is not immediately dangerous to life or health. Here we have the most basic type of disposable half mask. This mask is for use only against nuisance dusts and non-toxic particles. This type of disposable mask can be worn for protection against toxic fumes, dust and mist, depending of course on the concentration and the type of contaminants. It also often incorporates an exhalation valve. Disposable type respirators have some advantages. They allow for near-normal communication and can be worn with safety glasses, goggles and even under full face shields. This is a non-disposable half facepiece type of respirator. This type of respirator is made from silicone, thermoplastic or rubber, all of which are designed to withstand numerous washings. Most have a 4-point head strap or what is known as a head cradle for a secure fit. The design of this half facepiece mask also allows for the wearing of other protective equipment if required. The full facepiece respirator offers the added advantage of protecting the face and eyes. Powered air purifying respirators operate by using a battery-powered blower to draw contaminated air through the filters to provide clean air to the respirator headpiece. The styles vary from tight-fitting half facepiece and full facepiece types to loose-fitting hoods to helmets. The appropriate style is often dependent on the nature of the work involved. Powered air purifying respirators are generally regarded as offering the user a respirator which is easy and relatively comfortable to use for extended periods of time. All non-disposable air purifying respirators and all powered air purifying respirators have one thing in common: the use of filters to remove contaminants from the air to be inhaled. It is vitally important that the user selects the correct filter for the particular contaminant or contaminants they are likely to be exposed to. These filters are all labelled and colour-coded to enable easy identification. There are essentially 4 main types of filters that are commonly used: gas filters, vapour filters, particulate filters and combination filters. All filters have a limited lifespan, beyond which they will offer little or no protection. Some have end-of-service life indicators on them to show that they are no longer safe to use. The effective lifespan of other filters should be calculated by following the manufacturer's recommendations. There are also a number of physical danger signals that can occur when using a respirator that may indicate that the filter is no longer effective. These danger signals could include any of the following. You can smell or taste contaminants. Your eyes, nose or throat become irritated. It becomes difficult to breathe. The air you are breathing becomes uncomfortably warm. Or you feel nauseous or dizzy. Anyone who is unsure about any aspect of using filters should seek appropriate advice. Many respirators require a tight seal between the face and the facepiece. The obvious exceptions are the hood-type respirators. When a tight fit is necessary, appropriate selection and fitting of the respirator is essential. The first part of the selection process is to find a respirator that is not only comfortable to wear, but suited to the general shape and size of the face. Next, a facial fit test must be conducted. The purpose of this fit test is to ensure that this particular make and model of respirator will provide the user with an adequate seal. There are 2 types of fit testing: qualitative and quantitative. The aim of a qualitative fit test is to see if the wearer can detect the presence of a particular test agent. There are a number of common test agents used, including isoamyl acetate, which has a strong banana-like smell, stannic chloride, which is an irritating smoke, and saccharin, which has a sweet taste. The procedure for the qualitative fit test is quite simple. It involves the person being exposed to a test agent in a controlled situation while performing a number of different exercises. Quantitative fit testing uses measuring instruments to determine the amount of face seal leakage into the facepiece.
Just breathe normally. If you want to do a few side to side.
A facial fit test should be conducted at least annually and whenever a new make or model of respirator is to be worn. A fit test should also be performed if there is any physical change to a person's face that could affect the fit, such as a significant gain or loss in weight. User fit checks are the checks that are carried out every time a person puts on a respirator. They are used to ensure a proper seal has been achieved. There are two common fit checks that are used, the positive pressure check and the negative pressure check. To perform a positive pressure check, place your thumb or the palm of your hand over the exhalation valve. Exhale gently and create a slight positive pressure inside the facepiece. The facepiece should bulge slightly and stay out. This will indicate that no air leaks have occurred between the face and the facepiece, and a proper seal has been achieved. If there are leaks detected, the respirator should be readjusted and the fit check should be repeated. To perform a negative pressure check, place the palms of your hands over the openings in the filter retainer, or unscrew the air purifying elements and place the palms of your hands over the inhalation connectors. Next, inhale and hold your breath for about 10 seconds. The facepiece should collapse and stay collapsed. This indicates that no air leaks have occurred between the face and the facepiece and a good fit has been achieved. Again, with this fit check, if air leaks are detected, readjust the respirator and repeat the check. Respirators perform an important function in many workplaces, but they are not foolproof. A respirator that does not fit properly can be more dangerous than no respirator at all, as it can lead to a false sense of security. A bad seal can result from a poor fitting procedure or from things such as skin disorders and even stubble growth. It is therefore crucial to perform a successful fit check every time a respirator is worn. Likewise, respirators with filtering devices that have exceeded their usable lifespan or are not suitable for the contaminants that are present will offer little or no protection. Respirators do tend to make breathing more difficult, and the overall health and physical condition of anyone required to wear one is an important consideration. An initial medical assessment should be conducted for a first-time user, and the medical status of all users should be periodically reviewed. All non-disposable respirators should be inspected thoroughly before each use. As a minimum, the respirator should be checked for cracks, tears, scratches and holes in the body of the mask, malfunctioning inhalation or exhalation valves, broken, torn or damaged head straps and buckles, distortion, dirt and dust, detergent residue, and excessively worn or damaged parts. In addition to this, the filtering components of the respirator should be checked to ensure that the correct filters are being used, the filters have not passed their use-by date or service life, there is no damage to the filter assembly, and the filters are clearly labelled and correctly seated in the filter housing. All non-disposable respirators should be cleaned and disinfected as often as necessary to maintain the respirator in a sanitary condition. Respirators should be stored so that they are protected from damage, contamination, temperature extremes, excessive moisture and direct sunlight. Respirators should also be stored in accordance with any additional manufacturer's requirements, such as storage in airtight containers. This is required for certain filters that will continue to absorb gases and vapours even when the respirator is not being used. If you are required to use a respirator in the workplace, this means that you are working at a task or in an area where there is a threat or potential threat to your health. It is therefore crucial to react to any of the physical danger signals that can alert you to a problem. If you become dizzy or nauseous, if it becomes difficult to breathe, if the air you are breathing becomes uncomfortably warm, if your eyes, nose or throat become irritated, or you can smell or taste any contaminants, leave the work area immediately and go to fresh air. Remember, a respirator is simply a device designed to ensure that the air that we breathe is normal and safe, but it is also a device that always needs to be used correctly.